I really don't think this is going to be much of a long video, but a few days ago, at the time of recording this video, Nintendo finally unveiled their new and long-rumoured Switch upgrade. And unfortunately, it seems to have just hit the floor like a big wet fish. It really doesn't seem to have won many people over. But before we get into it, thanks to everybody who's been watching my videos, clicking the buttons, chatting to me in the comments. It's genuinely really nice to see. And if you're not subscribed and you want to join the little community that we've got going here, please do consider subscribing today. We're aiming to get to 500 subs, and of course every single sub gets us that little bit closer, so please do consider it. So as you've probably heard or seen around the internet, Nintendo unveiled a new Nintendo Switch upgrade. And I think a lot of people were really hoping for what people called a Nintendo Switch Pro. You know, it would have more graphical capabilities, it would run better, it would be able to play higher resolutions, it would be able to do higher frame rates, all sorts of different things, and even have things like DLSS, which is deep learning super sampling. It enables much better performance by using AI to essentially reconstruct the image that you're seeing and make it look better. I mean, there's much more to it than that, but that's the sort of, basic version of what it is. And I remember seeing rumors that said things like it would be similar to a PlayStation 4, like a base PS4 in your hands, as a portable system, and that would have been pretty cool to see. But it really doesn't do anything. I mean, all it really does is give you a slightly better and slightly bigger screen, a slightly better kickstand, a little bit more internal memory, and I believe an Ethernet port on the dock. And I think that's about it. There might be a couple of minor details that I'm missing there, but it really isn't worth, an upgrade. I mean, is it better than a standard Switch? Well, yeah, it is, but I mean, not by much. 2% better? It's just a pointless thing. It feels like it's got no substance to it. Now, if the internals, besides some of the memory or whatever, had have been upgraded, even just, I guess, a moderate amount, I think this may have been a bit more worth it. But, I mean, there's different types of people, right? So if you're somebody who has never owned a Nintendo Switch before, and you've been looking at one and you were thinking about buying one, and then this is coming along, I mean, you might as well get this one because it is technically the better one. I mean, not even technically, it just is the best one. But if you've already got a Nintendo Switch, I don't really see the point in upgrading to this, especially because it costs more than a standard Nintendo Switch. I think it's fine, but I don't really know what else to say about it. It's just so underwhelming compared to what people were rumoring that we were going to get, I don't see this doing very well. I mean, of course, people will buy it. Collectors, people that are just massive Nintendo fans will buy it, and that's fine. They can do what they want, it's their money. But I think for a lot of people, this is just a big nothing, which is a shame, honestly. I was really hoping for something more. And for me, I actually use my Nintendo Switch in probably the way that the minority uses it. I am definitely not in the majority when it comes to this, but I don't play my Nintendo Switch in handheld mode, portable at all. I always play it on the TV with a Pro Controller because I absolutely hate the Joy-Cons. I just cannot use them. I've been over it before, but they just really cramp my hands. I just can't use them. They're a cool idea and everything, but it's just not for me. It's just not for me. I can't use them. I mean, perhaps I might take it out of the dock to search through the Nintendo eShop or something occasionally, but other than that, I don't play games in handheld mode. And honestly, there really isn't much more to say about this, except that for me, what I would absolutely love is if Nintendo would have come out with a actual console that sits under your television and is just, a box like the PS5. Well, I mean, funny looking box, but you know what I mean. They're just consoles, just TV home consoles, not portable in any way. It just is a box like the GameCube was or whatever, or the N64, I guess. But I would just like it to just be a standard console that had more power that you could just put under your TV and play with a Pro Controller that would just, come with it in the box. And I know that's not what Nintendo's really going for, because they're definitely stuck, locked in with the Switch, which is good for them because it's done very well for them. But I think going on just, what I want and the things that I enjoy, I would really like it if the Nintendo Switch Lite was their sort of portable device, and then they had an under the TV box, console separately, like they had when they had the GameCube and the Game Boy Advance, for example. And perhaps they could link in a certain way, you could maybe play the Switch games on your TV through the the home console, whatever it was. I think for me that would be what I would want most, but that's not the direction they're going in. They just have too many gimmicks to make a lot of their things interesting to me. And I'm not a graphics over gameplay kind of person, so I don't need the Nintendo Switch games to look incredible, like a PlayStation 5 exclusive or something. I don't need it to look like that. But the problem is, a lot of Nintendo Switch games, especially the bigger, more ambitious ones, both don't look too great and also don't play too great because of the frame rate issues. It can barely hold a steady 30 on a lot of games, and that's a bit of a shame. I mean, I recently played the Monster Hunter Stories 2 demo, and while it was really nice to look at, the Switch is very good at making the best of what it has, I think, but when it comes to full-on, detail, it just doesn't have it. It just can't do it. The chip that's inside it, I think it's it's a Tegra X1, I think, and they were kind of outdated when the Switch first released anyway, so it's an old chip at this point, and it just doesn't have the grunt, it just doesn't have the power that it needs. And then you look at the frame rates as well, and it is sort of subpar in a lot of cases, so you sort of get this horrible dual issue where it doesn't look great, and in a lot of cases it doesn't run great, and that's such a shame because I do love the Switch and I do love a lot of the games on it. And don't get me wrong, there are tons and tons and tons of great games on it, but there's just some things that I feel like if they just had been put on a better console, a more powerful console, these games could have been so much better. I mean, again, take Monster Hunter Stories 2 for example. I've seen some footage of that from the PC version, which runs at 4K 60, and it is amazing. It looks so nice and so smooth, and then you play the Switch version and it's just like, not enough to turn me off of it and not enough to make me not play it on the Switch or anything like that. But I don't know, I just think in conclusion, there's a lot of people that are going to be really disappointed in this, and then there's going to be people who are Nintendo fans who will purchase it anyway. And for people that don't own a Switch, I guess it's really nice. I mean, it's a 720p OLED screen, probably quite nice to look at, a little bit better than what we have already. And I think it's fine. I just don't think it's going to set the world on fire. It's just not a very good upgrade. It's kind of pointless to a lot of people, but it is what it is. And as I said at the start of the video, it's kind of a nothing story, really. There's just not much going on with this. But let me know what you think about it regardless. Is this something you plan to pick up? Do you like it? I mean, I will say the white Joy-Cons do look quite nice, even though I don't use them. They do look cool. But let me know what you think down below. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please take a look at the rest of my content, and if it looks good to you, please do consider subscribing. If you have the time, check out Pyro Games. They're an online retro game store here in the UK. There'll be a direct link to their store in the description below, as well as a 10% discount code. But with all that said, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.